welcome to A Conversation With. It's a little series that we've been doing. You're our second guest. We had Judge Annette Turk was our first guest a few weeks ago, but our second guest is very proud to announce.
Not as highly esteemed.
Well, you're not a judge. You're not a judge, that's
true.
for sure. But Webb Wellman, for people who are familiar with prep basketball, you definitely know his name. Webb Wellman actually graduated from Arendell Parrott Academy. We're going to talk a lot about that, but a lot of neat things going on in your life right now. I mean, you're involved with the Holiday Invitational.
A little bit.
You have a national profile, having worked for Ball is Life, and how you helped build that brand up.
Yep.
And so a lot of things that we're going to talk about. But first off, thank you for joining us here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm from Kinston, born and raised, so being home's always fun. And you did hit me with a camera voice when we started. That was very much.
So is my camera voice different than my regular voice?
It was you hit. So it's like we're on YouTube. We went from like having a conversation. Hey, I appreciate it because I'm from both sides of the camera.
Well, I've got your Hoop State Network Twitter handle up, and I don't know if you're gonna have to go check that out. The picture and the video you've got up on YouTube. But,
got a face built for radio, that's for sure.
Oh, whatever, man. One of the best-looking guys to ever come through Kinston, Lenore County.
Sorry,
no, I'm
sorry,
not hitting
Kinston.
on you, okay?
Sorry, Kinston. That's a terrible thing to say.
So many questions. We're going to try to keep this to about 12, 13 minutes or so. But I've got 10,000 questions, so I'm going to try to get them all in. But first, how cool is Rod Bridgers?
He makes being entertaining a lot easier. That's for sure. Rod is, if you're not familiar with Rod, I do a podcast with Rod. Rod's part of the Hoop State Network, which we just launched. He's a personality and he's a figure in the basketball community. Rod is a genuine person who is entertaining and always on point. So to work with him, and you've met him, so you kind of know, like, he makes everything a lot easier.
Well, the neat thing about Rod, and like he said, that's the podcast y'all have. It's called The New South. You can check it out on iTunes. That's where I subscribe to it. It's on iTunes, and you're on different platforms too. But it's to me, I can't wait till every week when I see it. Or you got to get them out more often.
Right?
Okay?
No, I agree.
But I really look forward to them. I listen to them 2 or 3 times each time.
Yep.
Rod is hilarious. You're funny. Donnie Boy. And his name really is Donnie Boy.
Donnie Dat Boy. That is his government name. It is like every time he has a jersey, man, I'm like, bro, put your whole name on there. Yeah. It's like it's necessary.
But y'all do a great job with that. So, I mean, like I said, you've got so many different platforms. I know you've had a recent change, though, with Ball is Life. I mean, a lot of people recognize you from that. I mean, who are not just from Kinston, Lenore County. And, again, we'll get to that here in a moment when we talk about Arendell Parrott Academy and your career there. But Ball is Life is one of the platforms that you really helped take to national prominence. But
if
there's been
else,
I guess maybe we're breaking some news here. Well, there's been a little bit of a change there.
Yeah, I've been with Ball is Life for right at 10 years. Really helped them build on the East Coast. I was the first person to join the team not from California. I've been with the company longer than anyone outside of the 2 owners. Really got to do some cool stuff, and the main benefit was like we kind of were able to create whatever we wanted. And we kind of just got to a point where it's like 10 years in, I've really enjoyed doing what I'm doing, but how much more do I want to film high school basketball? And I've helped get so many creators started that at this point, I have resources to get footage and get content. And for me, I want to move on and concentrate on bigger things, events, and the Hoop State Network is kind of getting back to the roots of not just putting on for 2 or 3 players in the state, but really having a platform to provide for the highest level all the way down to the guys fighting for D2 scholarships. And the only way to do that, I'm a big advocator of all in. Don't half anything.
Yeah.
You go all in.
You can say half butt.
Well, I was going to, but I figured we got the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to be able to go all in on what I'm doing, and right now I'm all in on North Carolina.
As well, you have been. I got to tell you, a lot of people have now, I guess, clicked on to Hoop State. You're the first person, and I'm asking you to take credit for it.
Yeah,
I don't know,
100%.
and I know everybody across the state of North Carolina.
Yep.
You originated the term Hoop State.
100%. It was myself and the original guy I got started with, Devin Ryan. We wanted to come up with these webisodes where it was basically, we did the Hoop State for several years, where it was like every month we would put out a mixtape where it was like a 3-4 minute video of all the best highlights, behind music from all across the state from that month. And we needed a name for it. And we threw a ton of names on the board. Nothing worked. And Hoop State, and Devin's the one who first said it. As soon as he came up with it, it was like, that's it. That's it. That's representative. But it was years before anyone realized, like, it's only been the last really 2 or 3 years where that name has meant something in reference to here.
And it's really, it's almost nationwide now. When you see someone say Hoop State somewhere else, you know they're referring to the state of North Carolina.
And the challenge now is to make sure, like, anyone can technically be a Hoop State. You know, but for us, I want that logo, that North Carolina emblem to be what is synonymous with the name.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how you got started. And I've referred to it a couple of times now about you being at Arendell Parrott Academy. And if I remember correctly, I think I wrote this, and I hope I'm accurate. You're the first player who ever had a dunk during a game, maybe in practice, during a game for Parrott Academy. That is true, correct?
As far as I know. Yeah. However, I didn't seek that information.
Told me that.
Right, that's what I was told. And I was at Parrott from 5th grade till I graduated. I saw dunk attempts, never saw a dunk go down. Knowing what I know now, to be completely fair, like, I dunked it, but it was soft. And one, I went to the free throw line, and I made the free throw. But even that little fingertip dunk, like, that moment was the highlight of my high school career. Not only because of what happened, but the reaction we got from everyone. And they announced it at school the next day. It was like, it was just like my little thing.
It was in the local paper. We made sure we got it in there, too.
I'll be honest with you, though. Like, that moment was really cool. Senior night and having you write an article about me and that whole thing, that's what, that article's still on my parents' refrigerator right now. Wow. Like, that's something that you can't take that away from me, and that's something that's really cool to me.
Well, you made a video for when you launched Hoop State Network, and one of the things I liked was how you talked about how you've come up through the ranks. And I want you to do it for this video here too, but how much time did you spend at NC State after you graduated from Arendell Parrott Academy?
I actually did some research. Okay. So, like, I know exactly how much time I spent. It was 14 and a half minutes. And so, like, in the 14th minute, I was kind of on the edge, but I was like, I'm not going to quit now.
How were you in the 7th and 8th minutes?
Pretty much after minute 2, it was all downhill. School was not for me, and if I could go back and do it again, I would have gone to Raleigh and gone to community college and done the basics and found it. You know what I mean? Like, I would have got into the job world to understand. Because to me now, like, it's obvious everyone wants to do what they want to do. But to me, what can drive you to do that more than anything is to work a job you hate and you don't want to do, because it teaches you, like, this is not what I want for the rest of my life. For me, it was a server job. I don't want to be a server. Yes. I don't want to. And that, I took that to a bigger thing. I don't ever want to be in a position to where I have no control over what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. And that's kind of, for the first 11 years of my professional life, that's kind of been what's guided me.
Absolutely. One of the neat things that I remember about you, obviously I remember you playing at Parrott Academy, but I also remember in 2008, it was my first year as being the media director for the Holiday Invitational, which at the time was called the GlaxoSmithKline Holiday Invitational.
Trying to get away from that Glaxo thing so
People
hard.
Still say Glaxo.
I know.
And even, my friends over at high school OT, that never caught on.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
we tried to come up with ways to call it, and I like that it's called the John Wall now. But anyway, I remember, I don't remember if you emailed me or if you texted me, but you were like, hey, can I get a credential for the Holiday Invitational? You wanted to shoot some videos. And I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I mean, it was my first year, and I'm trying to get my legs under me too. Yep. And I remember a young Webb Wellman running around the gym, not running literally, but I mean, hustling around the gym. Yep. Getting all these shots and everything.
Filming every game.
You did everything there. How did you get, for people who are not familiar, like I said, you worked for Ball is Life. You were one of the pioneers, I believe, that I know, in the field of taking these videos of high school kids that helps them down the road.
Right.
How did you get started with that?
The original idea, like, I filmed football. Camera stuff has always been an interest of mine, like, on the water growing up. I was always looking to find something to create. And my senior year, I did football videos and sold them back to the parents at Parrott. So that was my first taste of, like, creating something and earning money from it. And then when I was in college, I was, like, struggling with, like, this school thing I'm not motivated to do this at all.
For the 14 and a half minutes.
For all 14 and a half minutes. It was, like, this biggest struggle. I had the cameras, and the idea went kind of the same thing with the football team. I was going to go to the nicer schools, the private schools and the high-end public schools, create videos for the players and sell them to the parents. And through doing that, I started working with Middle Creek. Coach David Kushner gave me access to build my reel. And then randomly that spring, I went to the Bob Gibbons. I didn't know anything about the Bob Gibbons, but it was still in the Triangle. And top-ranked player in the state was playing at NC State right up the road from me, literally a walk. And I snuck in and I filmed the game, and I borrowed a media packet from the ground, and I emailed the coach from the team the video that I made. Used a Requiem for a Dream soundtrack and made this very dramatic thing. And they called me the next day and said, look, man, we can't pay you, but we can pay for you to go everywhere we go. And the player that I was there to film happened to be John Wall.
Wow.
And so from that point on, I filmed every single game John Wall played until we got to Kentucky. And I went from wanting to sell videos to the parents or whatever to, okay, I see what this high school thing on the national scale looks like. People are going to want to see that. This is college basketball before college basketball. Before they get there, this is the most fun these kids are going to have, the best they're going to ever look in terms of playing weaker competition. So I gave myself 2 years to build a platform, build a fan base, show what I can do. And literally at the end of those 2 years is when I linked up with Ball is Life.
Wow, that's amazing. You had to hustle a lot then. I remember talking to you between periods. I remember seeing you the next year. I don't even know if I saw you from 2008 to the 2009 Holiday Invitational, but I just remember you being so fired up because you have been, I guess, working with John at that time too. Who helped you along that way? I mean, there had to have been people that that you drew inspiration from, and I know your dad, obviously, and you better give some shout outs to your parents here. Okay?
Right,
they're
course.
Going to be watching this,
of course.
But I mean, your father and who else in the field really helped you get to where you are today?
I'm going to be honest with you. When I started doing this, putting videos on YouTube wasn't a thing. So I got no one.
Really? So you really are sort of the pioneer.
What I mean is like I looked at people like you, people from the older school media who did things. My dad always did things with integrity, and my dad. There was never a moral decision to be made with my dad. My dad was going to do the right thing. Does still always going to do the right thing no matter what.
Former Kinston, Lenore County Citizen of the Year.
I mean, and anyone who knows him, my dad is the best person in the world. Like there's really no way around that. So for me, it's like I want to create my way, but at the same time, like I want to garnish that same level of respect and dignity that my dad had, and he did that through decades of work and community. And selflessness. And so that paired with seeing how you handle yourself as I'm still I'm in the new age of media, but when I see certain things be done, it's very frustrating to me when it's not professional, when it's journalists not doing their work, not doing their research, not
taking pictures with coaches.
Correct. But I mean, that's so I might be younger, but I come from the same field of thought as you do with that. But to answer your question, I mean, no, I had to self-motivate.
Wow.
I believe that it could be something. I believe, and you know me now. I don't believe in making money immediately. I believe that you build it up the right way, you create leverage for yourself, and then you go find the money. And if I had looked for the money right away, I never would have made it, ever.
Wow.
I had to grind and find money the other ways in order to pay for the life that I was trying to get.
Well, this is a question I usually try to wrap an interview up with, but I think it's appropriate to ask you this now. A lot of kids, they've seen what you do, and there's a lot who try. We've got people in our area. I know Anthony Bruton is a young man from this neck of the woods who sort of followed in.
Played on the same Fairfield basketball team with Anthony Bruton.
But he's
best player on our team was a girl, by the way.
Who was that?
Jacqueline Irvin.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
But I know he's followed in your footsteps, and I know there are several others. But if someone is watching this right now and they want to become the next Webb Wellman, what would be the advice that you would give them?
Go.
Okay.
Go. Like that. The thing I see all over the place is everyone has an idea. Newsflash. If you're waiting for someone else to make your dream a reality, you are going to be waiting for the rest of your life. Go. Like one mistake I made is always feeling like everything I had to do had to be right. And that I couldn't make mistakes, and then if I made a mistake publicly, it was going to bury me. And it's like as you get older, you realize you learn the most from making mistakes. You grow the most from making mistakes. You grow the most from getting outside of your comfort zone. So for people who want to do it, I would say to you, go do it. Don't take no for an answer. Go, 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 because it's people like me will see it sooner rather than later. And I understand more times than not when someone has that. Ian Pierno was one of those guys. Some people, they're just going to make it whether you help them or not.
Yes.
And if you can help get them there faster or better and also help mold them and teach them how, you could have let me become whatever you know what I mean? You staying connected with me through the holiday tournament is what helped me make sure I did things the right way moving forward. Same reason I work with a guy like Miles. You know, Miles is a young kid.
Miles
Massacola. He speaks his mind. He can sometimes maybe do a little too much. So he's gonna be here. He's gonna be in the scene. So he can either do his own thing and figure it out on his own, or I can help him get to where he needs to be and become the person he needs to be in the industry.
You sound a lot like B.J. Murphy, and I'm not just sucking up to the guy who owns New Snooze,
Right.
but this thing didn't even exist until June of last year, and now he's taken a platform that wasn't being, or taking a community that wasn't being served the right
Correct.
way. And
Filling
I'm not
a
denigrating
need.
anyone. Yeah, I'm not denigrating anyone, but has filled that void and has realized there are people who want to see it. And he is another one of those guys, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but sort of like you, balls to the wall, who
Right.
just, no strings attached, who just,
Once it's in my mind,
Exactly.
we're going.
Exactly, but that's what I like about you. A couple more minutes left here, but like I said, so many questions I want to ask you. You're on the Triangle Education Advancement Foundation Board, which is what the organization that runs the John Wall Holiday Invitational.
I'm a board member, which is the funniest thing in the world.
But that's
to me.
awesome. But how did you get involved with the Holiday Invitational, which you are now? I'm assuming Bill Sewell's number one. You're the number two person now that runs the
me and him
Holiday
have this
Invitational.
conversation all the time. I don't know what the title is, but me and Bill run the thing.
Exactly. How did you get involved with the Holiday Invitational?
So that year that you became media director, Bill hired a guy to make a video for promo. And the guy, to make the video, the guy stole all of my footage off the internet and used it with removing the watermark.
Oh my God, I remember that now.
So I was
Continue.
very ill about
You
that.
contacted me about it.
Correct.
Yes.
And then Bill, Bill was very apologetic. But so I came in with a reputation already because that had happened. And basically, Bill met me, and Bill's, how old's Bill? Bill's in his 40s?
No, he's mid-50s.
Okay, so an older guy, not my demographic in terms of like the video content, and he's coming up to me knowing everything that I've done and being a fan, and basically said to me like, look, man, the guy, I didn't know he was going to do that, but obviously like you should just be the one. And I told him like, look, if you give me access, I'll do this for free. And almost immediately helped him start picking teams. Well, I say immediately. The last couple of years that high school OT was involved, me and Bill were picking the teams, and obviously like they had their local input. But now at this point, me, Bill, and Donnie pick all the teams, and I do all the schedule. I do the brackets and I do the scheduling.
Wow.
And the reason is because you've seen the last couple of years, like it's an orchestra. It's the way things are put together. It's very it's a puzzle. And knowing who to finish the day and knowing who needs to bring the crowd in and all that kind of stuff. It's a fun little game. And so basically, I think Bill set me up on the board. Since I wasn't being paid, his mindset was like, well, you need to feel like you own a part of this. And then, of course, I brought John in, knowing the contract situation and when things were going to be up and what it would take to do it. When I brought it, we had John in the last year. It was high school OT. I basically said to him, look, man, this can be all yours. And on the spot, they were like, yeah, we're done.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with John. I know, again, it goes back to 2008, that first Holiday Invitational that you filmed of him. How did you guys become friends? Because you're not just business associates, you're friends also. Tell me a little bit about your friendship and how it's evolved through the years and your working relationship.
So everyone in his family and his camp has always looked at me as someone who was there from the beginning. I don't look at it that way because he was ranked when I saw him. He wasn't ranked number one. But I mean, he had established himself as a basketball player. I think what I did do is when I saw him, I understood what was happening and that he had the potential to change lives. And I believed in him from day one, and vice versa. He thought everything I did was the best thing. Same thing now. When I make stuff for him now, he thinks it's the hottest stuff out. And I would love to say that he hired me and I work for him now because I do great work. I do good enough work. But at the end of the day, it's a trust thing. He knows, and his family knows, that I'm there to do the job that I'm there to do. I'm not there for clout. I'm not there to party. I'm not there for anything outside of making John look as good as I possibly can. And so my relationship with him is that they're family. And as long as he's paying me, he's my boss first. But it's never, the only reason it works is because me and John are very similar people.
You and I have talked about this earlier. We just had lunch with some people, and we're going to get to that in a second too. But you know, there's a lot of negativity right now going around about John. That, you know, I mean, with his ballooning salary that's getting ready to blow up and everything. You know, he can appear, sometimes the media makes him look a little standoffish and all that. What is if you don't mind, and I hope I'm allowed to ask you this. I mean, what is the real John Wall like? I mean, I don't know him. I've met him only a couple of times. You've been around him all the time. What is John Wall really like?
So the best way I can, like, if I was in his position, I had all his money. I came from where he came from. I have all these people who feel like, you know, you got it, man. Let me get it. And then the media approaches you the way that they approach. Like, I'm already a standoffish person. I mean, you know me. Like, I'll do stuff like this, but like my personal life, I want to just. I'm not a go out to the bar and I'm a go home and relax kind of guy because my professional life is so crazy. John's the same way. I mean, I live with him for 3 months every year. Like, live with him. So, like, I couldn't do that with any player, like, it's a family environment. John is a family. It's funny to watch how the media portrays him because it's so off. It's crazy. Good. He is, if you get to meet him and talk to him when his wall is down.
No pun intended.
Pun intended. Yeah, I mean, you'll see. There's no way you don't walk away with a tremendous amount of respect. But that wall is way up, and as someone who does the same thing, you got to earn getting that wall down.
Absolutely. Well, a couple more questions I want to hit before we wrap up here, and the first one is I want to refer to what I just did a couple minutes ago. We're bringing an exciting event, drum roll, to Kinston, Lenoir County. We're in the beginning stages of it, but it's your baby. I mean, it is your baby. This is something that you approached me with. Would I be interested in helping? And much like B.J. Murphy, who I've talked about a lot, if you tell Webb Wellman yes to something, you better get ready for the emails.
Oh,
you better get ready for you know, the text messages and all that, because
we're not stopping.
Yeah, he is very excited about this. Tell us a little bit. It doesn't have. What's the working title for this event that's going to be coming to Kinston in 2020?
For the sake of right now, we're going to stick with Showdown in Titletown.
Okay.
What we are working on is a 3-day event with a Sunday Fun Day kicker. Martin Luther King weekend of 2020. We want to bring all the Lenoir County schools, also the best schools in Eastern North Carolina, against the best players and the best teams across the state of North Carolina. And then, you know, throw in a little Oak Hill to the mix, maybe a little Huntington Prep, maybe a little Julian Newman, little national element. And basically we want to bring the Holiday Invitational vibe right here to the mecca of basketball in the Southeast region. And into Kinston. And the beautiful part about it is just like I know people will comment when they hear about this concept, like if we build it, they will come. Yeah. We don't have to worry about our community here. If we put it together for them, and the idea will be to bring all groups of people together in a situation to where there's energy and there's love and there's positivity and the kids flourish and the community, economy, everything. Like we want to create a win-win for everyone, and we want to do it in a way that's charitable for the community.
And what's exciting about it, too, is the people we've talked to, and we really want to thank, and I don't think they would mind us naming their names, Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Lenoir County Public Schools, Nick Harvey.
Gigantic help.
Big, huge help. And also Perry Tyndall, the head basketball coach over at Kinston. But
huge help.
The thing that is attractive to me about this is, and you know, people are automatically going to assume because I do so much with Kinston High School, this isn't just going to be a Kinston High School thing, is it?
No. Like that's the exact idea. Like, you know, Kinston is obviously, that's where we want it to be. We want it to be at Kinston High. It's a good sized gym, history and a lot of energy there. But no, you know, South Lenoir, North Lenoir, Parrott Academy, South Central, Farmville Central, you know, Green Central,
yeah.
Like every school program you're familiar with within driving distance, We need them to be the anchors. And then give them schools that they would never get to see otherwise, and give the fans an opportunity to see players that you'd have to drive 2-3 hours otherwise to go watch, and put them in your community.
Absolutely. Well, stay tuned on that on Hoop State Network. That's at Hoop State or at the Hoop State on Twitter. I know you're going to be giving a lot of updates on that. I will be too. Noose News is going to be a big sponsor of that. If you are interested, if you're watching this and you're interested in being a part of this, all you need to do is just contact myself or contact Webb, and we would love for this to. It's going to be the community event in Kinston and Lenoir County. Now we have.
I'm going to take it a step.
We have the Freedom Classic every year.
I feel you on the Freedom Classic, and that's a great, amazing event every year.
Navy and Air Force.
But I'm telling you right now, camera. Kinston, Lenoir County. I'm telling you right now, if we do this the right way, this will be the biggest sporting event in Lenoir County year in and year out, and it won't even be close.
I would tend to agree with you on that for sure. Yeah, I've got a couple of quick hit questions that I want.
Not even close.
Yeah, I like the going in on the mic. That was good. Just a real quick hit questions I want to ask you. The New South podcast, I know that's how we opened this, and I'm a huge fan. I love it. I mean, to me, I love podcasts. In fact, I don't even really listen to the radio anymore. I listen to Bill Simmons. I listen to Steve Zabin. I listen to the Flourish podcast that our boys over here do, Junius and Graham. But I'm not exaggerating when I tell you the New South podcast is my favorite podcast right now.
I appreciate
How did that come into fruition?
I needed something for Rod. Is really the long and the short of it. And the quickest way to get it started was to just do a podcast. And I've never been a fan of being on this side of the camera. But again, talking about comfort zone, like at a certain point, you got to put that to the side. And no one's going to better sell what I'm doing than me. And so with Rod, like I'm sure it looks like co-host. I'm a moderator. You know, I'm really just there to kind of guide things and provide expertise because I've been around. But Rod is the reason we're there. You know, Rod. I want Rod's opinion. I want Rod to be the voice of the people. I want Rod to be the one that people come to. And then me, I'll fill in my spots.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. The rapport you two have, and it started from the jump. You could tell that these aren't just two media guys that were thrown in together to do. I mean, it can get a little blue sometimes, which I don't mind. I love that stuff myself. But the rapport you guys have, I mean, it's real, isn't it?
Well, so the funny thing is, like, me and Rod have always been friends and been cool, but like, that's the most time we spend with each other is during that podcast. But like you said, the first time we did it, we finished like, man, that was super easy.
Yeah,
like super easy. Sometimes it's too easy, and we get into topics that we can't go live with. Yeah. But we've had 2-hour podcasts before.
Wow. Wow.
Because we just get going, and that's all Rod. I mean, that is 100% him. And so building off that, like, I want that to be the hub so we can go and talk about whatever we want to talk about and let it free flow. But I want to take that, and now, you know, Rod's doing the New South News for us. I want to start building that personality vibe. So eventually companies, he's already getting job offers to MC events and do local stuff. But I mean, the idea here is Rod, like everyone else within the Hoop State Network, like, they're guys with real jobs, with families and things they got to do. So I'm trying to get them to a place to where they can walk away from what they're doing that their heart's not in and provide them with income to do what they want to do. And unfortunately, the only way to do that is you have to put yourself out there. We have to create reels. We have to show that they can do it and not wait for someone to do it for them.
Well, and Donnie, I don't even want to leave him out because Donnie adds a – in fact, what unsolicited advice I gave you earlier on this year when we were at the John
More Donnie.
Was more Donnie, because Donnie is a very good element too, isn't
Donnie doesn't want to be involved at all. So
other than producing it.
Well, even that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, not because he does, like, just Donnie doesn't want to be on camera. Like, that's not Donnie's world. You know, Donnie's behind the cameras to make sure that everything goes right. The one time we did it without Donnie, we filmed the entire thing without audio. That was amazing. That was really solid.
Well, you got to check it out. It's on iTunes. That's where I pick it up, and I'm sure it's on Spotify. And
keep following us on the New South Show on Instagram and Twitter as well. Like, the podcast is cool, and you know, that's for a certain group of folk.
See, I've never watched the video. Not one time. I always listen
we really
to
made it to be a clip show.
Okay.
So basically, like, we can talk all this stuff and then take the best things, and we videotape it all.
Okay.
Because to me, you can latch onto a voice, but I'm
You're a visual.
I'm a visual guy, and I also think it's beneficial for the people to see your eyes and your mannerisms, and there's more emphasis on what you're saying when, especially me, like, you know me, I'm doing it right now. Yeah. I'm just a hands guy. I'm just talking
like
with
Ricky
my
Bobby.
hands.
I don't know.
Yeah, right. If I sat here with you like this, I'm sweating already. Like, this just doesn't work. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of value to seeing it as well as hearing it.
Okay, quick hits, because we've gone much longer than I thought we were going to, which is no problem because this has been awesome. Why is there so much basketball talent from Kinston? Quickly.
Because we had success early with guys like Jerry, and I think in a community like this, kids just need to see that it works. Mm-hmm. And once we had our second, like once Reggie, gangbusters after that. Yeah. And the kids see those guys as he came from right down the street from me. Mm-hmm. He was a regular kid like me. If he can do it, there's no reason I can't do it. And I can do it right here from my local high school, which a lot of players feel like you can't do.
How proud are you to be from Kinston?
It's the thing that I'm proud of the most.
Really? Expound on that.
Well, you know, I went to Parrott Academy, so like obviously there's not a lot of basketball history involved there. But for me to be in the field that I'm in and to be able to tell people all across the country that I come from Kinston and to have people recognize where that is and what that is, I mean, to me, you know, I got North Carolina tattooed right here. Mm-hmm. Kinston is everything to me. That's where I started. If I could justify moving back here, I would have done it already.
Where does Kinston rank in the hoop state? Where does it rank first, second, third, fourth, fifth in basketball communities in the state of North Carolina?
We're going to find out next Martin Luther King weekend, 2020.
Very good.
And the answer to that question is number one. I'm almost positive, with Raleigh being right behind it.
That's awesome. Top 5 players to ever come from Kinston, not in any particular order. If you want to rank them,
Jerry Stackhouse, Brandon Ingram, Reggie Bullock. You know what? Like, we talked about him so much today, and I like him a lot. So I'm giving Josh Dawson one of those. And then, man, you know what? This isn't a true, like, this is totally a homer answer, but like, Nucci's my guy, man.
Yeah, Nucci's a good player.
He's my guy.
I'll say this, he's probably...
They won a championship when they weren't supposed to, too, in my eyes.
Well, he was the purest shooter. I've been doing this since 1992, so I'm in my 27th year.
Played with him at Mock when he was smaller than this table, and he was the same little kid with scrunched socks, just whop, talking all the junk. Like, Nucci's my guy. And to me, he's here, and he's giving, like, that's Kinston. Mm-hmm. Kinston is running things while you're here and then giving back once you leave.
Well, very good. Well, listen, Webb Wellman, thank you so much for joining us here on A Conversation With. And be sure to stay tuned. We're going to be having more of these as the weeks go along. I'm going to try to make this a weekly feature. But Webb, again, thank you so much. Very excited about next year and excited for the Hoop State Network.
We're coming for you, Kinston.